So one of the things that I love to teach, like we talk about elite performers and how to become an elite performer in all areas of life. And it's not that there's some kind of secret talent or gift that elite performers have, and they don't live a charmed life. They if anything, the elite performers that we've worked with have had more than their share of trauma and adversity, and it's how they have used it to hone their physical, their mental, emotional, and I'm going to say spiritual, energetic character to become that real life superhero.
Welcome to the Stress to Success Shift podcast with Dr. Irene, where you'll learn powerful tools from world-class experts to bounce back from burnout and shift into success mode in all areas of your life, with career and wealth, health and energy, relationships, and personal life.
Welcome to a very special edition of our Stress to Success Shift podcast. I have with me Dr. Dan Cardellichio, who is our Director of Functional Medicine of the Institute. He is our weight loss resistance expert. And he and I were already planning to do this interview because we feel that the information that we're going to talk about is so very needed, and it's like the missing piece of the puzzle. It's the reason why over 90% of people fail to lose weight and keep it off, and we're on a mission to change that. And so we're going to pull back the kimono, as the saying goes, and really, give you some ahas on why you can be doing everything right and still not be able to lose weight to save your life. So for whatever reason that you are listening to this interview, welcome, and just know that you are not alone. Right, Dr. Dan?
Correct. And it's always good seeing you, Dr. Irene. And this is an important topic because weight loss, and people yo-yo up and down with weight loss. They lose a little bit of pounds and they gain them back. And it just keeps going back and forth. We have the holidays coming up. And during the holidays, we all seem to gain a little weight, including myself. Although, as you know, my mom passed away, so the homemade Monagot will not be there this year. Although I think that I'm going to give I'm going to give it a shot just to make a couple of few. And it's a really important topic because weight gain can bring out a lot of chronic diseases and, mental, physical, social, emotional aspects of it. So, Dr. Irene, where do we go from here?
Let's start with why. Why are we so passionate about this? And I'm going to give my story like really, really quickly. And that is that I'm not some little stick figure Barbie doll who's never had to worry about her weight. And that is so important because it defined me. I remember being bullied in high school by other girls, who made fun of my thunder thighs, and I went on a starvation diet, determined to lose those damned thunder thighs. We are allowed to swear here. It's my podcast. I'll swear if I want to. And, it was like 6 months later, I had a 22-inch waist. You could see my ribs and I still had thunder thighs. And at least I woke up to, okay, this is not the way to go about this. But it really started that journey of me hating myself, hating my body, feeling less than. And so again, I was one of those people. I used to laugh and say, all I have to do is look at food and I gain weight. And it was demoralizing. I tried everything. And as a doctor, I ate right, I exercised right, I meditated, I did everything right, and I still couldn't lose weight. That is until I realized what was the missing piece of the puzzle, which is what we are teaching in this interview and program that we have coming up. And once I did that, it's like I lost 40 pounds without changing anything. Not 40 pounds overnight, like healthy 40 pounds. And that is the power of this. And this is why I personally am so passionate about this, because yes, it has the the weight gain is, well, Dr. Dan will, has already listed out like all of the chronic diseases that weight gain is at the root of. And it's that, do you enjoy your life? Do you feel comfortable in your body? Do you feel confident? Because it impacts everything. If you're not feeling comfortable and confident in your body and feeling healthy and vibrant and alive, then it's wrecking everything across the board. Your career is going to suffer, your finances, your relationships, yes, your health and energy, like your whole life. And so that's why it's so important.
Right. You're just not happy with yourself. And I'm going to take it a step further, because what happens is that you're gaining weight, maybe you're stressed, you're not eating properly, and we're going to get into that. Now, that just throws off your physiology and your biochemistry. We're just going to go over some basic stuff today. And once that happens, you go down that rabbit hole, and it's tough to get out of. I mean, my story was 37 years old, heart attack. I think I was 260, 265, athletic all my life, high school, college, marathons, 10Ks, bodybuilding. And I just let myself go with a lot of stress at one point in my life when I graduated chiropractic school. And I had offices in 3 different states. I'm traveling around, my partners, things were changing in the healthcare. And really, the biochemistry and the physiology, I lost myself there for a second, but I'm back. And I don't know what happened, but anyway, I was eating so poorly, Dr. Irene. McGriddle sandwiches for breakfast every day. Pizza. Now, who doesn't like pizza? Where I grew up in Bloomfield and Newark, pizza was all over the place. It was a lot different back then. They made it differently. And I was just drinking coffee, cakes, candies, any type of sugary thing. And I just woke up one morning and I just said, I don't feel well about myself. And everything suffered from there. My businesses suffered, relationships, friendships suffered, and it wasn't a good time. I couldn't stop myself. That's really what it was. I could have kept on eating and eating. Dr. Irene, I just couldn't stop myself.
Yeah. And then you ended up.
I had a heart attack, and I got the blood work. I did, in fact, find it. My triglycerides were, at the time, 1,227. I did mention that to some of our colleagues, Dr. Irene, this past weekend. And one of them, Dr. Sean Tassoni, looked at me and said, boy, you did it right, didn't you? If you're going to have a heart attack, you might as well have triglycerides 1,227. He goes, that's the way to do it. High five me. He's like, wow, because a lot of people don't come back from that type of stuff. A lot of people don't come back. That's high. Cholesterol 500. I forgot what my LDLs were. My HDLs were like 10. They should be 4 times that, 5 times that. And it wasn't a good period of time in my life. So I had to change it around.
Absolutely. So as you can tell, we both have our reasons for being so passionate about this subject. And so many of our other faculty on the Stress to Success Shift Institute have their stories as well, that of why they're working with us and are so passionate about helping, whether it's with weight loss or autoimmune conditions or pain, or we even have like success and career coaches and financial coaches, because right, you can't separate out one. It's about 360-degree success. So let's jump into what is actually at the root cause of why I couldn't lose weight to save my life at the time, and you couldn't stop yourself from snarfing back on your favorite comfort foods. And we want to tell our stories just so you know you're not alone. You're not alone. And it's not unlike what you get told by the media, perhaps by even your medical doctor. Like I've literally heard other medical doctors say, what, you got rocks in your head? You really want to die? Like, why won't you do what I tell you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't understand that you're not bad, stupid, lazy, lacking willpower. You could be literally doing everything right and still not be able to lose that stubborn weight. And so let's hop right into it. And I'm going to say, and again, this is like given the name of our institute, the Stress to Success Shift Institute. Stress is a huge biggie and baddie. And it's not the stress that is, oh, you just need to do a little self-care, right, Dr. Dan?
Right.
It's understanding that when we talk about stress, it's that you need to do make some big changes, right? And that's what we help guide.
Stress is something that could work for you and can work against you. How do you deal with stress? Because we're all stressed in our lives, right? There's financial stresses, there could be marital stresses, there could be relationship stresses, family stresses. There's so many different types of stresses that you have. How do you deal with these stresses so it doesn't negatively, impact you? How do you deal with them so that it's not going to negatively impact you, which is the most important aspect of this? And this is what we're going to teach in our boot camp, is to dealing with stress, because it has these deleterious effects, it has these bad effects, right? So stress, it can decrease your metabolism, slows it down. You're making poor decisions. You're not eating right. That metabolism slows down. Dr. Irene, what happens when your metabolism is depressed?
Great point. And I want to back up just a little bit, Dr. Dan, and say that I'm a superhero geek, right? I admit it. I love the Avengers. I love Star Wars. I get it from my sons.
What about Star Wars? Do you like Star Wars?
I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars.
All right, that's good. That means I stay in the institute then.
Yoda is my hero.
Yoda is your hero. Okay.
Yoda is my hero. Absolutely.
May the force be with you.
Thank you. I wish I could speak like Yoda. Anyway, but he's one of my role models. The key is that it's kind of like Shakespeare said, nothing is good nor bad except thinking makes it so. Well, the same thing goes for stress. Stress can either be your kryptonite and weaken you and suck the life right out of you, or it can be your superpower. So one of the things that I love to teach, like we talk about elite performers, and how to become an elite performer in all areas of life. And it's not that there's some kind of secret talent or gift that elite performers have, and they don't live a charmed life. They, if anything, the elite performers that we've worked with have had more than their share of trauma and adversity, and it's how they have used it to hone their physical, their mental, emotional, and I'm going to say spiritual, energetic character to become that real life superhero. And that's the key, right? It's like we all have our set of talents and gifts and genius. I don't care who you are. It's like, if you're born, you're already a genius in my eyes. And so that is what we love to teach. Now, that's what we teach at the Institute, is how to help you use stress to become your superpower. And so when we're talking about stress from here on in, we're going to be talking about how it impacts most people because they don't know what we know and what we teach. So so when you are under stress, like right from that very first moment, very first thing that happens is that what's called your prefrontal cortex, fancy name, I like to call it your executive rock star team that sits behind your forehead here. It gets wiped offline. Right? That's your thinking brain. That just means when you're stressed, very difficult to make good decisions when you're stressed. Usually you make poor decisions when you're stressed. You're just not thinking clearly. Nobody's thinking clearly, right? Right, exactly. You don't think logically, you can't come up with creative solutions, you can't make good decisions, you can't act on those, like you have no motivation, you can't galvanize yourself into action, and you can't regulate your emotions so that you're not going into Hulk mode and flying off the handle at your boss or crying at the drop of a hat, right? That's what your executive rock star team does. So one of the things that our clients complain of most often is brain fog, right? They're like, I can't, I got none. I can't think straight.
Can't think
Right.
straight.
So again, not bad, stupid, or lazy. That is a hardwired response to stress. The next thing that happens, as you mentioned, is that it tanks your metabolism, like just bottoms out your metabolism. Why? Because your brain and body take stress equals survival mode equals possible starvation mode. So it's like, we got to conserve the fuel. We got to conserve the energy so that you can keep going and run away from that saber-toothed tiger or fight the bear. Right. So it tanks your metabolism. So right when you're trying to lose weight, your metabolism has taken a nosedive. And then, as you mentioned, Dr. Dan, right, the cravings skyrocket, right? You start snarfing back your favorite, what did you call them, Dickie D's?
Dickie D hot dogs were delicious back in the day. They were deep fried Italian hot dogs, ketchup on the bottom, mustard on the top, onions, potatoes, the works. It was delicious. You get a double and you get a yoo-hoo or a moochoo, whatever that was back in those days. And that was a Saturday afternoon lunch for us. But what happens with the cravings, when you're stressed, you have a tendency to go for sugary foods, foods that have caffeine. And it's like we say, we like to keep your heck in check. We like to keep your hunger in check. The E is the energy. The energy, where are you getting your energy sources from? You're getting it from sugar. You're getting it from processed foods. Bad. You don't want that. And you want to keep your cravings in check, because if you don't keep your heck in check, you're going to eat poorly. You're going to make poor decisions. As we said, we're not thinking clearly. We're going to reach for the cakes, the candies, the sugars, the sugary sodas. And once you start doing that, it throws off your metabolism, as we said earlier, and your sugar, your insulin, all of these hormones go all over the place. And then you want more as time goes on. So it becomes a vicious cycle. It really becomes a vicious cycle. So you don't know what you don't know. And what that means is that once you start down this rabbit hole, once you start with stress and you start falling, you're not even aware of what's going on. Maybe you do go to the doctor, or maybe you try to lose some weight. Maybe you lose a fad diet. Maybe you use some type of, pill that you buy in some type of a store or a pharmacy. Maybe you lose a couple of pounds, but then you gain the pounds back. Maybe you lose a couple of pounds, but then you're gaining the pounds back. And what happens is that's where we come in. And that's how we're going to help you, because the stress increases the intake of sugar. Your blood sugar goes up. And guess what happens when the blood sugar goes up? It's going to be converted into fat, adipose tissue. And so now all of a sudden you look down one day and you notice that you had a 32-inch waist. And it's happened to me before. Now it's a 35-inch waist. Now it's a 36-inch waist. Now you're not happy. Now you're even more stressed, right? And now it's difficult to sleep, because when you're stressed, it's very difficult to sleep. And I had asked a friend of mine who's a PhD in nutrition. He works in very infamous organizations like NASA and things of that nature. And I had asked him on a podcast, what is the most important aspect of nutrition? He sat back and he rocked a little bit and he said, sleep. Because if you're not sleeping properly, no matter how well you eat during the course of a day, doesn't matter. It's still going to create a situation where you're going to be gaining weight. So stress, we want you to make sure that you're able to deal with stress. Decreases your metabolism, increases your cravings, your motivation goes down. You'd rather sit in front of the TV and watch Netflix. And what is it? Salt and vinegar potato chips, Dr. Irene, you like? Right?
Oh, those have in the past been some of my favorite, but they're not just any, not Lay's, not those cheap ones. They have to be like Miss Vicky's. Like,
I don't know what Miss Vicky's is.
Do you not have Miss Vicky's in the States?
No,
oh my goodness, that's sad. They're like kettle chips, like they're the thicker ones. They're really crunchy. They have the substance, sea salt.
We are Vicky-less. We are without Vicky here.
That is so sad.
That's just like you don't have Italian hot dogs up in
we don't have Dickie D's. Yeah. So yeah, your motivation bottoms out. And again, you're not bad, stupid, or lazy. It's that literally when your executive rockstar team is offline, you neurologically can't kick yourself into gear.
Right.
Right. So you're either going to be a couch potato lying flat and can't get up, or you may be like that squirrel, what is a hammy in Over the Hedge, where he's just like veer, 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 like just go, 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 go. But he's like not focused.
That must be another Canadian thing. Anyway.
That's Disney.
Okay. So
Disney.
anyway, if you think of a triangle, right, and you have stress in the middle, one point goes to brain fog. You're just not able to think clearly, right? You're making poor decisions. The other point is going to go to poor sleep. The other point goes into weight gain. Now, the question is, when this situation arises and you want to lose weight, it's difficult to lose weight. Even if you do everything right, you think you're doing everything right, but even if you are doing everything right, what happens is that it's kind of a yo-yo. You lose, you gain, you lose, you gain. And everybody at this point usually goes like this. You're right. Everybody's up and down.
Roller coaster.
You have these, what we call these energy vampires that we say. It's damage from different types of traumas that you've had. So what I've noticed in my office is that I could be the blood work guy. I can order all of this blood work. I could put together the perfect diet, and I could give them the perfect supplements for perfect nutrition shakes. And what happens is that they lose weight, but then there's a block that they have. Now they come in, they start talking to me. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. That's way outside of my pay grade. I'm the blood work guy. I'm putting together the meat and potatoes. I'm working with physiology and biochemistry. That's where I lie. But this is where Dr. Irene comes in. And I think that this is important because what I do is a conscious level type of a thing. What Dr. Irene does is she's going to get you ready on an unconscious level, because you have to be ready to lose the weight. You have to be ready. You wake up one day, I want to lose weight. How long does it take you? Monday. I'm going to start Monday, right? Everybody's going like this, right? Everybody's going, yes. Monday. Why Monday? Because that's the first day of the week.
Or and New Year's Day.
Right. And or New Year's Day. We got the New Year coming up. So you have to be ready in order to lose the weight. You got to get rid of those obstacles before you. I'm going to start Monday. I'm going to start New Year's Day. The holidays are coming up. I might as well gain another 20 pounds because now I'm 70 pounds overweight, right? So what we need to do is look at those obstacles, those energy vampires, as we say at the Institute, that are preventing you from going from point A to point B to point C, all the way to the end of the alphabet at Z, which is extremely important because without that, we all seem to yo-yo around a little bit of weight, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm at a barbecue. You look good. You lost a couple of pounds. Well, I'm big boned, so I'm not going to lose any more weight. No such thing as big boned. I'll tell you that right now, right? It's a lifestyle that you're accustomed to that is bringing you down this rabbit hole. And it's awareness of what that is, those obstacles are. What are those obstacles that you have? And once you remove those obstacles, I'm thinking, we were talking earlier today. We have one of our clients. They're over 60 pounds and down over 60 pounds down. They are rocking. They're doing better at work. They have a great relationship with their wife, great relationship with their daughter, great relationship with themselves, happy, energetic, thinking clearly. And this individual, we can mention his name because we have brought him into the Institute, this guy Lance. And you talk to Lance from when he first started to now, he's a totally different individual where he is just so excited to get up in the morning. And he went through Dr. Irene's program, took care of those obstacles. Then I came in and I did the blood work, and boy, the pounds were just dripping off. Between the both of us, those pounds are drifting, and he has so much self-confidence in himself, in everything he does. There are no more, I could say with 100% clarity that there are no more obstacles that this man has in his life. He takes everything on. He meets, right, Dr. Irene, seriously. Yeah. And he's been on. You can listen to what he said a week ago. Maybe we'll attach that.
Well, actually, it's going to be the next podcast after this one.
Oh, okay. There you go. So take a listen to this. Maybe we'll put them next to each other. because Lance, it just has so much to give in life. You know, he has his calling and now he's rocking. And this is what we're doing right now is we want to give this to you. We want to make sure that we give you the best opportunity. It's just not about losing weight also. I mean, it's important to lose weight because overweight can lead to diabetes. It can lead to heart disease. It can lead to autoimmune conditions, blood pressure. You get joint problems, neck, back, hips, knees, right, Dr. Irene? So what we want to do is we want to set you up for success, set you up. So tell us about the unconscious, Dr. Irene. Tell us about what this is and what we can do and what you do.
So that was a great explanation and overview of how stress impacts you and causes you to pack on the pounds, even if you're doing everything so-called right. And so I really appreciate that triad of stress is what we see so many of our clients come in with. And that brain fog, poor sleep, which means poor energy, and then the weight gain. So and one or other may be the one that is bothering them the most. And then we start asking, they're like, yeah, like, come to think of it. Yeah, that is totally like, how I am. So first and foremost, it's understanding that like we've kind of gotten blasé about stress. And we all know that over the last couple of years, especially, stress has become like what the elephant in the room for in everyone's life, right? It's worldwide. And at the same time, again, we're like taught that, oh, you just have to practice mindfulness, or you need to relax and take some time for yourself and self-care. And all of those are very, very important. The key is that stress comes from your unconscious mind. And that's where you really need to reverse the damage that stress causes so that you can then use it to be your superpower. And so that's one of the things that we spend a lot of time in our sustainable weight loss bootcamp is teaching you what I call SOS tools. That, what can you do in 30 seconds? What can you do in a minute or in a few minutes to just really calm your nervous system down? Like, so that, and put out those 5 alarm fires that are going off in your unconscious mind that are triggering the survival response. So that you can, right? Remember, your rock star team can kick back online and you can start making good decisions so that you can take action on those decisions to knock off the cravings, to eliminate the cravings that are sabotaging you. And it goes beyond just cravings. Your unconscious mind is sabotaging every time you want to make any change, especially losing weight when you're under stress. Because remember, stress equals survival equals starvation mode to your unconscious mind. So you say, I need to drop 50 pounds and I'm really looking forward to it. And you make that decision with your conscious brain. Your unconscious mind is going, hell no, that's not safe. That's like danger, 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 Will Robinson. So you just have to, right? That's your unconscious mind is going, okay, you can do what you think you're going to do, like consciously, but I know at some point very soon, you are going to have to think about other things. And guess who's in charge then? I am. And I am going to derail the stupid idea you have of losing this weight because it's not safe, right? So it derails you by sabotaging you, sabotage patterns. So another thing that we help you release at the unconscious level are those sabotage patterns that get everybody. And they, again, like more flavors than Ben and Jerry's ice cream, right? Like as far as how the sabotage patterns can show up. For me, having broken 10 bones in a near fatal car accident, my unconscious mind loves to sabotage me with pain, right? Why? Because it gets your attention and it can grind you to a halt like that. It may be, I'll lovingly say, victim, where you feel helpless, where you feel powerless. And, oh, I can't work out because I got a bum knee, or I don't have enough time. I need sleep more than I need to exercise. Oh, I don't have money enough to exercise. That's for those Hollywood people like Demi Moore who can afford, a trainer for 5 hours a day. Not me. I have to work 2 jobs, right? Like this, there's so many ways. Or I should get up and exercise, but I'll just scroll Instagram or watch Netflix for another 2 episodes and binge on my favorite show, right? So many ways the sabotage patterns can show up that are simply unconscious patterns, that your unconscious mind is trying to keep you safe by keeping you alive. So that's another big part of the boot camp. Fear. Don't even think about fear that much, but I'm going to mention fear here because I had something happen this past week, Dr. Dan. I know you'll laugh, and any of our listeners. When we say that your blood sugar is spiked by stress, it's not just from the cravings. It's also from the stress itself. Now, true confession, I have this deathly fear of mice and rats. I've gotten rid of just about every other phobia, but I still, damn it, was like mice and rats. I don't know. Maybe in a past life, I was bitten by a rat in the big bubonic plague. I don't know.
Did you watch the movie Ben back in the 70s or something like that? No?
Not that I know.
Michael Jackson had the lead song in that thing, Ben, the two. No, you know.
Okay, I don't know.
Anyway.
What happened is that I was visiting friends, and so I was sleeping in their spare room.
A big rat came up to you.
Would you quit ruining my story, Dr. Dan?
Okay,
seriously. So I'm like staying in their guest room in their basement, and I'm just about to go to sleep. I'm reading a book, and all of a sudden I hear this rustling beside my bed.
Oh no.
And I look down, and there's a baby mouse who's like sitting right by my bed. And you would think that it was like a rat this big. With my reaction, I was just like, I jumped out of my skin. I didn't want to get down. It was like circling the wagons, it was just like, it was circling my bed. It was going in and out of my, bags because I was traveling. So, that were on the floor. I was freaking out. I could not go to sleep for 2 hours. Because I was afraid this mouse was going to come up and like nibble on my nose or something.
Now, here's the thing. Multiple Mises that were running around for you, Doctor. I mean, did the mouse get up on its hind legs and look at you and go,
oh, let me tell you, I was so freaked out. And I happened to be wearing what's called a continuous glucose monitor to check my blood sugar for other reasons. And sure enough, right when that happened, you can actually see the graph spike my blood sugar.
Really?
And I had no food before. Literally, the fear, the stress of that event spiked my blood sugar. So there you have it, proof positive that fear and stress spikes your blood sugar. And it's also one of the biggest blocks to you losing weight because fear equals stress, right? And it could be fears that you don't even know that you have. Very, very important, or how they're going to show up. Right. So we help you release those fears. And as I said, I've used our tools to get rid of most. Obviously, now my next thing is working on mice. And then finally, you talked about energy vampires. Very, very, very important, because again, you could be doing everything right and the life could be sucked out of you, just like Dementors in Harry Potter, just sucking the life right out of you. So that just when you need more energy because you're supposed to be exercising and healing your body, right, you're running on empty. And the biggest energy vampire there is out there is trauma. Now, trauma, I've had people say, oh, I've never had trauma. Well, it could be little traumas. It could be big traumas for you personally. You may not even know that they're trauma. Like one of I had an abusive childhood because of a father who had PTSD. So lots of trauma there. And at the same time, did I understand or even like think about that it was an abusive childhood as I was going through it? No, it's only hindsight looking back at it that I realized, oh, this is a thing. So the most important thing to know is that you can have trauma that is sucking your energy out because of the damage from it and not even know it. So what we do is help you release the damage associated with that trauma. And we spend a lot of time in the Sustainable Weight Loss Bootcamp to do that. So those are the biggest aspects of how we help you really release all of the unconscious blocks so that you can lose weight once and for all. Right, Dr. Dan?
This is a great conversation. Once you're able to look at those obstacles, get rid of those energy vampires that are holding you back from the next step. And today we're talking about weight loss. It becomes easier, I want to say. It becomes more enjoyable. You're not fighting yourself. That's the best way that I can put this, right? It's not like in your mind, you got a tennis match, John McEnroe against John McEnroe. That would be an interesting match. And it's going back and forth. You lose a little bit of weight, you gain a little bit of weight. Today is good, tomorrow's not so good. It's okay, you had a month that was bad. May not be, but it gets rid of that type of situation that's going on. So you're not struggling with yourself to lose the weight. That's the best way I can put it. I like that. You're not struggling. Absolutely. You're not fighting yourself. The decisions that you make are easy. They're effortless. You can make these decisions and you can lose the weight. Again, I always say looking good, feeling good ought to be in Hollywood. But for me, it's normalizing your biochemistry, your physiology, so you're functioning healthily, is that a word? At a higher level, right? And that it's better than it is right now, because that struggle is real. As they say, my son says, Dad, the struggle is real. It is. And we want to make sure that that struggle is gone. The unconscious is worked on first, which is what Dr. Irene does. And it's a situation where we help you with the unconscious to bring it to the conscious mind. And then we come in, if you want to take it to the next level, there's different types of diagnostic testing that we can do to help out. And it becomes really fun. It's fun. Absolutely. Because we watch the transformations.
Absolutely. And so if this sounds like something that you need and that resonates with you, and maybe you've had some ahas listening as we've talked about why you can't lose weight to save your life, or at least up until now, then we'd like to invite you to join us for this 8-week sustainable weight loss boot camp. It starts October 24th. It's finished December 18th, right before Christmas. So when everyone else is ramping up and they're thinking like, oh yeah, New Year's resolution, we'll try the same old, or maybe I just give up and, not try ever again, right? You're already going to be on the winning track, because we've set you up for success by teaching you these tools and techniques that you need to eliminate any barriers, conscious and unconscious, so that you can then take the steps. And guess what? We'll be there to guide you every step of the way. I do weekly themed calls and hot seat sessions so that we clear your particular unconscious blocks. Dr. Dan is there to coach you. We have other coaching staff that will be there holding you accountable and supporting you on a daily basis, making sure, do you need any support? Have you done, your 15 minutes of work for the day, right? And you'll come out the other end feeling calm, confident, in control, and set up for success, so that you'll be able to take the next steps needed, whether you choose to do them on your own or whether you choose to move to our next level in January and work with Dr. Dan and myself again, right? There are so many ways. So to learn more, it's just click the link below. It's https://drirene.life/weight loss. So drirene.life/weight loss. It's in the show notes. It'll be part of this recording for you. And if you're not sure if this is for you, schedule a call. You'll talk to Dr. Dan or myself, and we'll let you know whether we feel that this is a fit for you or not, because we
if it's
only
not
want
fit for you right now, it's okay. It could be at another time. Doesn't have to be a fit today. Correct. But having a conversation with either Dr. Irene or I, please, set up. See, my high school teacher, English teacher, Mrs. Snow, either or, neither nor. She's happy right now, wherever she is.
There you go. So drirene.life/weight loss. Just that will take you to a place where you can either join our program. There's only 30 spots that are available, and I think 5 are already taken, and we've just started.
I think there's 7
inviting
now that
people.
have been taken. I think there's 7 now as of
7?
right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that hurts my brain to do the math, 23 more spots. The point is, just if you're not sure, click the link and schedule a call with us, and we'll be happy to let you know whether we feel that you are fit or not, because we give 100% guarantee if you're not happy, because we want you to be happy, and at the same time we hedge our bets because we only take people on that we're like basically 100% sure we can help.
Right, sure.
So drirene.life/weight loss, all one word, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the boot camp.
Looking forward to seeing you all. Take care now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Stress to Success Shift podcast with Dr. Irene. Please head over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. By doing so, this will help us reach more people with our message. Be sure to visit www.drirenecobb.com to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content, and keep listening for more insights and tools to empower you to shift into success mode and enjoy life to the max.